Bad Company, a Kyle Ray Rice, the work of motorized art in the Born to Ride magazine. He's on the phone now. We're going to find out all about this motorcycle and his background. Really cool looking dude. Look at that. Look at him in the magazine, man. He's a rock star. Kyle, how you doing today, man? Thanks for being a part of the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I mean, putting the bike in the magazine, Eric Runyon, and we met you at Biketoberfest and, at Chopperama, actually. It was really good to meet you. The innovative design that you have is really outstanding. And speaking of outstanding design, the bike that's in the magazine, you got to tell us a little bit about that. How did it come about? And what's the concept of that? Because it's really unique.
Well, yeah, I was at the Webster Swap Meet, and that's where I found the motor. It's a 108 cubic inch shovel head, so it's pretty meaty shovel head. It's a Delcron bottom end, S&S flywheel, truck cylinders. The heads are all done up. It was a bike I wanted to build for a long time. Basically like a dirt bike, but a Harley. Harley that rides like a dirt bike. That's kind of where it came from. There was a lot of concept drawings of it beforehand, but that was the end result of all that. It's just genreless. It just kind of stands off by itself. You know what I mean? It's got a lot of tracker blood in it, I guess you'd say. It's just a big dirt bike, basically. It's real aggressive. It's a fun bike to ride. It looks like it can do a wheelie, with no effort.
What kind of frame is that?
It's an FXR. Believe it or not, it was an FXR. I cut the back half off of it actually, because it's got a touring transmission with the oil pan on the bottom. I don't need the room for the oil bags, so I cut the back half off. I like a altered dragster, so I like the idea of altering a stock frame and shortening it. It definitely kind of, I guess, yeah, you could say it's a race bike, really. I mean, it's a race bike, not legal in any class, yeah. But it's a fun street bike, really. Yeah, that exhaust, it wraps around the entire bike. I wanted to go as wild as possible. Exhausts are really my thing, I guess. That's what I most enjoy doing about bikes. I also really like welding stainless, titanium, stuff like that. That's all stainless. The original exhaust, that's like the third version of it. The original exhaust was like 100 pie cuts. That one, the left side is part of the original exhaust, but the whole right side has been redone. So it's less as far as pie cuts go. But a lot of those pie cuts were pretty much forced just because you can't get the bend with a mandrel bender, some of the tight radiuses that I had to do to make that work. But yeah, it's a 2 and a 2, so it wraps around one side. On the left side, it goes to an X pipe, and it's actually equal length up to that. Goes up to 2 inches to that, and then makes the X pipe, and then goes back out and goes to 2.5. It's a pretty interesting sounding bike. I've never really heard a Harley sound like what it sounds like. It's different than normal shovel heads for sure. So what a pie cut is, for people who don't know, it's another way of making a bend out of straight tubing. You're just cutting pies out of the pipe. So I cut them at like 4.5 degrees. Why I cut them at 4.5 degrees is because then I just need 5 to make 45 degrees. Or 10 makes 90 degrees, so I can make perfect, whatever turn I wanted to. But yeah, it's just basically you cut the pipes on both sides at that angle, and then you just make a pie out of it. You make the bends out of that. It's kind of a cheap way of doing it, but it's super labor intensive.
Where did you get your welding background? Matter of fact, I was talking to Eric the other day, and I said, "Do you think Kyle will come on the show?" He goes, "Well, he's usually in his garage working on something. So maybe we could pry him away." I thought that was cool as heck, because you're not an old guy. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Yeah, see, so you got that a young, youthful, but old school blood to design. And, that's what people are saying about you, man. They're saying this guy's got innovation all over him.
So, I mean, I've been around cars my entire life. My grandfather, though, he was the one who built choppers in the 60s and stuff. I've got a lot of stories of basically him. My dad telling me, a hippie, would ride in on a bike, and he would cut the neck off, stretch the front ends, and rake rake them and make these super sketchy choppers, basically death traps. But I had that. My dad was always into cars. He was a bit of a hot rodder. He was real into like Mopars and stuff. He was mostly a car guy, but he always had motorcycles. He always had Harleys, and we always had dirt bikes when we were kids. So I was definitely around it, and I definitely kind of fell in love at an early age. I went to welding school with the sole intent of making hot rods and motorcycles. That was the only. I didn't want a welding job. I just knew that was the quickest way in, and then you can take those steps. But when you go there, think of it as in, basically when I went to welding school, I kind of said to myself, they're not going to make any money off me. I'm going to weld as many tries as I can. I'm going to use as much material as I can. Kind of got to think about it like that, and every little thing, welding's just a tool too. That's just one tool in the toolbox. That's not, but you just got to, every single thing you do, don't get mad if you fail at something. I built 3 gas tanks on that shovel head. That's the third one, and I still don't even like it. That's why I'm redoing it. It's a lot easier than it used to be. I do take advantage of technology now. You can go on YouTube and you can learn anything you want. You can learn how to upholster in a day if you really wanted to.
Duke's Brewhouse Lakeland, the hottest, newest place everyone is talking about, invites you to Bike Night, first Wednesday of every month, 6 to 9 p.m. Ride your motorcycle and get 15% off your meal at Bike Night. That's 15% off your meal at Bike Night. Speaking of food, it's the best in town with the hottest servers anywhere. Wing Wars? Duke's wins every time. So don't miss Bike Night. Duke's Brewhouse, Lakeland. It's the first Wednesday of every month. Brought to you by Born to Ride TV and Magazine and Rubenstein Law. Are you down with the nation? Tiny Trailer Nation, the biggest secret in travel and adventure. Take your motorcycle anywhere. Live in comfort on the spot. Say goodbye to hotel cost. Campers, toy haulers, themed trailers built for any budget. 1 bike or 2. Includes electric, water hookups, microwave, refrigerator, sink, tie downs, and more. Your trailer or ours, new or used. Your dream is here at a working man's price. Tiny Trailer Nation, biker musician owned, a name you can trust.
Debbie with Born to Ride. Tune in every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. on the Boss Hog Radio, a fast hour of good talk. Good biker talk, what you really want to hear.
The name of the bike, Bad Companies. Tell me what's behind the name.
Well, everyone always thinks it's the band, but actually I saw a photo. I was looking at drag car photos, and there was a car named Bad Company. And that's actually really where it came from. The other one I have, I basically, I pretty much get through most of the bike, and then I name them, just kind of what they look like. And I just always thought that it was kind of one of those things, especially because that bike, it was the Bad Company was the first one I did, and there was a lot of mistakes made on that bike, and there was a lot of trials, tribulations, I guess you'd say. So I always kind of, and I pretty much locked myself into the garage, so I always kind of considered the bike kind of Bad Company. So when I saw that photo, I thought it stuck. And kind of the drag cars is where a lot of that comes from. The other one's named High and Mighty, and that's after the very famous Ram Chargers High and Mighty drag car. It just, after I finished it or had it before paint, it looked like it was High and Mighty. They just come once they're finished, I guess. I'm cutting apart that shovel head pretty severely, actually. That's the next project. It's going to be a drastically different motorcycle. I know what I like and I don't like. It needs a passenger seat for one. It needs a rear fender. It needs a checklist of other stuff, but I want to take it because that bike it had a lot of just stuff that wasn't up to par now.
So
The
Bad
paint
Company is going to get
first-
refurbished. You're going to do something else with Bad Company?
Oh, it's going to be drastically different. I'm basically those photos that Eric took. Those are the last photos of that bike, basically. So I'm taking all the tens off. I'm building a new subframe for it. It's going to be the whole frame's going to be molded in. I'm cutting out parts of the frame, adding in stainless pieces. I built the swing arm for it. I got some Morris 7 spokes that I actually, it's hard to explain exactly what I did, but I cut them apart and I basically made my own set of wheels. They're like Kim tabs. They're actually more like those Mongoose Moto Mags. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they have some wild stuff going on. So the wheels are pretty wild. They're polished. The motor, I'm taking the motor because it's got a blown head gasket. I'm going to take it all apart. I'm going to polish the heads. I'm going to polish the cases. And then I'm going to powder coat all the chrome, gloss black. The frame's going to be a brandy wine candy. It's going to be wild. It's going to be taken to another level, I guess. It's just going to be a different bike. Still, the exhaust is basically the only thing that's going to stay. I mean,
What
I draw a
inspires
lot,
you?
but pretty much everything. You gotta really leave yourself open to a lot of stuff. I take a lot of stuff from the car world, though. To be honest, because it really, when you look at it, like the motorcycle world, like follows the car world. Like it's like 10 years behind, basically. So everything that happens in the car world really trickles down, just because there's more people into cars. But it's interesting because you see a lot of stuff, a lot of builders, coming out with stuff. A lot of the stuff I've come up with, it already exists in the car world. The same ideas are out there. It's kind of feeding off pretty much everything, though. I mean, you can see whatever and kind of get lines off that. I'm big on like silhouettes and lines and stuff like that. Trying to get like a pretty side view of a motorcycle. Just coming up with new ways, new tanks and stuff like that. But you can see that in anything, really.
So what's been the secret of your success? At a young age, I would consider you successful.
Definitely, I'm a competitive person, so I think that's important. Take a lot of that negativity, when people start talking and kind of, don't talk back. Just show them what you can do. Just action. Put your head down. Keep working in the garage. That's all you really can do. Everyone gets the same amount of time during a day. You can outwork everyone if you wanted to.
True that.
There's no reason why not to.
So how can people get in touch with you, man? How can they see more of your stuff and contact you if they want to ask you a question or get in touch with you, learn more about you?
Kyle Ray Rice. That's where you can find me on Instagram. That's really the best way to. That's really kind of all social media I have at this point. But yeah, it's Kyle Ray Rice. Yeah, man. Just if anyone out there is interested in building motorcycles, I mean it's not as hard as you might think. Sometimes just get out there and get started. YouTube's your friend too.
There you go.
Well, man, we can't thank you enough. Deb, you got anything?
Thanks, Kyle. It was great talking to you. Great talking to you again.
Thanks,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Take care.
Born to Ride is brought to you in part by 866 Law Friend. Ride safe. Ride smart. Offices in Palm Harbor.
Born to Ride.